Hey everyone, so picking up right where we left off, in the last video we made the beginnings of a transactional database, and the core underlying idea was that you're taking values from several different tables and combining them into a new record in a separate table. And if the idea of capturing a purchase seems really archaic, where that kind of thing is done online now, you can see this as any kind of transaction because the actual data that's being captured is really irrelevant to this lesson. This lesson, again, is about taking data from tables and combining it into a new record. So you could see this as maybe an internal case management system. So it's not a customer calling in so much as another employee calling in, and you're not recording a product that's being purchased. You're recording what issue they're calling in about. So if that helps, if that seems a little bit more modern, that's fine. Again, the actual data that's being captured is irrelevant. It's the functionality, the underlying functionality of taking values from some tables and saving it to another. Anyway, so moving on, we said that one of the weaknesses is that currently for the add record form, the associate, the employee, is selecting their name each and every time. So that's a security issue, it's a data entry issue, data integrity issue, and it's just a straight up waste of time. Because if this is the one test this person is performing, why enter their name over and over again? Because that's a constant. It's not a variable, it's a constant. Because they're always going to be who they are. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a login form. It'll just be selecting the name. We're not going to do a password yet. As I said, this is an iterative process. So this iteration isn't going to really address security so much as eliminate that repetition. So the login form, they select who they are. That value that they select is going to be dropped into a temporary value, and then this will be set to that temporary value. So let's get started. So create blank form. View, design view, design, property sheet, and as typical, we're going to shut off the selectors that show up on the left and the bottom. So format, record selector, no, navigation buttons, no. So those have been shut off. Now we're going to add a combo box. So we're going to click on this, just kind of draw this out in the middle. I want the combo box to get values from another table, just like the last video. So next, we said it's going to be the employee table. We want the employee name field. Next, can widen that just in case we ever get longer names. Next, and it stays employee name, finish. If you grab the little handle in the upper left corner, you can just arrange that. And that's all about I'm going to do for layout. Like I said, layout and making it really nice is really a separate set of tutorials. So let's go ahead and click on View just to make sure this works. We click on the drop-down box, and sure enough, the names are there. So let's go back to View and Design View. Now, like I said, what we want to do is when we select that name, we're going to take that value and put it into a temp value. So how do we do that? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a module that is attached to the form. So we do that. And again, make sure you know what's selected. We don't want the form selected as a whole. We want the drop-down, the combo box selected. So with the combo box selected, go to Event, and make sure you choose the right event. We don't want to choose Click, because at first you might think Click, but even clicking on the arrow is just that. So we want when you change the value. So that would be on Change. Click on the ellipsis, and choose Macro Builder. Now you can just start typing set T, and that should bring up set temp var. And it's asking you two things. What's the name of the variable, and where is it going to get its value? So the name of the variable, we can call this whatever you want, but be very careful. Since we're talking about a user login, there are certain reserved words that are already out there. Like if you chose current user, you're not going to get what you're expecting because that's already used. So for something like this, you might have to name this in a way that's a little bit awkward to avoid system reserved phrases already. So let's call this logged user. Having said that, you might want to have in a more advanced database that current user that's already out there, that function that's already out there. But again, that is a separate discussion. So we're just going to create our own logged user, and it's going to be equal to that combo box. So we're just going to type combo. It should be combo 0. That's the only one that's coming up. And then we can just save that. And then we can close it. Be careful, don't click this X. This deletes this part of the macro because you can actually have multiple things going on. Okay, so now let's go to, so we created the combo box. We put the macro on the combo box. So when we click on it, it populates that value. And now that I look at this, confirming it is indeed combo 0. Okay, so what we want to do is we save this. So do you want to save changes? Yes. And we'll call this login. And then again, use that naming convention, adding 3 letters at the end to indicate what type of object this is. In a small database, might not seem like a big deal, but when you get to larger databases, you're going to want to know quickly what you're looking at. So it's a form. So far so good. You can now select your name on a login form. It stores it into a variable. Last thing is to get the variable here. So we're going to click on View, Design View, and we're going to change this. We're going to go to Data, and we're going to look at default value. So it's going to be equal to bracket temp vars exclamation point logged user. There we go. So it's the temporary variable. Which temporary variable? Logged user. That's the one who created. So let's go ahead and save that. And now, if we did not forget anything, that should work. So login form. Let's choose, say, Jill. And once you select the name, we really should open that form automatically, but we can add that in a minute. So now we go to our add-in form, and sure enough, there's Jill. So customer, John Smith, video game, save. So let's go back to our transaction. Jill, John Smith, video game. Perfect. So we'll do one more. So we open add record. Sure enough, Jill's still there. Jane Doe, movie, save and exit, transaction table, Jane Doe, movie. Absolutely perfect. So now, about the only thing that's left, like I said, is when you select the name here, you're going to want to open the other form. And the other thing is that we would really want to change this to a, since it's still a drop-down box, it's still a combo box, people could technically change it. So you'd probably want to convert this to, say, like a text box and make it read-only, just so people are getting that confirmation saying, hey, this is who you're logged in as. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's click on View, Design View, click on the combo box if it's not already selected. And right now, when we change it, that's when this macro runs. So let's go back to the macro, and you can add a new one. So the first action is to store that value into that variable. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to do open form. And then it wants to know what form you want to open. So the form name is add record. It asks you what view you want to be in. Do you want any filters? Do you want any conditions? Nope, we just want to add the record, and it needs to be viewed as the form. So let's go ahead and save that, close that. And again, don't hit these X's. You want to hit that one at the top. And so that's going to now add that form. So let's test that before we do the second part, which is where we said we're going to lock down the username in the other form. So let's save this again, go to View. So we select a name, say Rebecca this time, and there we go. Now it opens the add record form. Okay, so now that we're in this form, we said we want to lock down employee name. So what we can do here, we can go to Design View, and what we can do is we can change this so it is let's go to Data, and let's go to, I think we want locked to yes. So we'll save that. Yeah, see, it lets you click on the drop down, but it doesn't let you change it. Again, you probably could just change this to a text box. Change to text box, and we go save, view, and at this point, can't do anything. And so we go back to here. We'll choose, say, clear this time. Clear is there. And then we can just choose, data entry at that point. There we go. Okay, so I think that should do it for this tutorial. So we did the two things that we mentioned in the last video, and that is we created a singular login so they don't have to keep adding their name every single time. And now we also eliminated the data entry at the same time. So both we added a login as well as eliminated the redundant data entry of entering their name. So if there's more things you'd like to see, let me know. I only really have one or two more ideas for this particular project, but if there's anything else you want to see, just let me know and I'm more than happy to add it. So hope this was helpful and have a good day.